In this video, I'm going to show you guys everything you're going to get in your Christmas cards craft kit. I'm sitting outside today doing this tutorial because it's so hot outside or inside that I am sitting outside. So you're going to have a lot of ambient noise on this video. So I'm going to first show you guys the cards that we will be able to, or that you will be able to create with this craft kit before we actually jump into it. So one of the first cards that I'm going to show you how to do is this little, I'm going to call this a pop-up card. I'm not too sure what you'll call it, but it's basically folds flat when you send it in the post, and then it stands up like so when it is constructed. And in the craft kit you will get the little Christmas lettering that I've put in the front here. You also will get the little deers or some other designs that you can do, and I'm even giving you 3 of the backing designs to do this, including the acetate. So that's one of the cards that I'm going to show you guys how to construct with the goodies that you have in the box. Then there's also this cute little Christmas tree in a window card. For this one, you will get 2 of the little window pieces to build this and Christmas tree as well. The first 20 that order this, I don't think you guys will see this because it's so bright outside, but the first people who've ordered this will get a little LED light. I might bring up the LED light again in future boxes, but I'll show you guys how to construct this one using the template to cut out the little window. And probably one of my favorites is the little slide up card. So with this one, in the kit you have the template to actually make the construction of this card, and it's basically going to be like so. So you can flip it up or pull it up, and then the little guy will stand up. So you can put anything on there. The one that I'll make in the video today will be a different design, just to show you that you can do different things. And then I just put a little sentiment at the bottom. So you can slide the card up to there and then be able to close it. Or if you wanted to have it as a little display, slide it up further than that so that it hooks on there. And then you can put it down like this. I was saying on TV on the weekend, how cute will this be if you have it like this on your Christmas dinner table, and then everyone can just pop it up to reveal a little message or whatever you want to put on the inside there. And I think that will be quite a nice little card. So there's that one. So then there's this cute little card that really started all with me thinking I can do a template for a card to make it easier for myself to make a card. And as you guys know, I love bringing you what I feel makes life easier for me. So I think these are called wiper cards. So you just pull the little tab, and they flip up. Mine actually got wet on TV, which is why I'm struggling to pull it open, but you can basically see what it does. And then you've got the ho 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 will also be in your craft kit that you can do, or you can put little photos there. I think the idea that Laura had on Saturday to put little photos there is quite a cute idea. And then you also have the space still at the top to put your sentiments, and all of these will be on 5x7 cards, so you can actually put your message inside or do whatever you want to do inside as well. And then you can put a sentiment at the top. So the card will also be included. So let me jump in and show you guys what's in the box. There are chapters on this video, so if you wanted to jump ahead or you want to re-watch it to make one of the specific cards, then just use the chapters in the description box of this video and you'll be able to jump to those specific cards. But let me first show you guys what you'll get in your craft kit. This is probably the biggest, no, not probably, it actually is the biggest craft kit that I have ever put together. I think, as I normally do, is I got really excited about it and then just started to add more and more stuff in it. I had to stop myself from adding even more in. So you'll receive everything in a beautiful box. And I'm just going to pop off the cover and I'll open it up and show you guys what's inside. So when you open your box up, I'm going to flip it to the side so there's space here, so don't knock over the tripod. So you will open your box and you're going to see it is to the brim filled with a ton of stuff. So let me just unpack this first. Included in your box will be all the basics that you're going to need. Now, I do know that some of you guys are card makers already and you will have some of the materials, but I wanted to make the box accessible and usable to anyone who's never done Christmas cards before, or cards for that matter, and wanted to dabble a bit in the cards. So it gives you everything that you need to remake the 4 cards that I showed you guys earlier, and then some. So in your box, you're going to get some card blanks. So I'm giving you 2 craft card blanks. Actually, there's more than that in the box. But in your box, there will be 2 craft card blanks, and then there will also be 2 envelopes. You're also going to get 3 white card blanks and 3 envelopes for those ones as well. I'm giving you 2 acetate sheets, and that will be, you will be able to make at least 2 of the little pop-up stand-up cards with those ones. Then I'm also including 5 300 GSM smooth GSM card for you as well, and you'll be able to use that to remake some of the cards. And then this is kind of a staple. If you then decide that you do like making the cards yourself, then you can go out and purchase yourself some more. Now over to the fun stuff in the kit. So those were all the basics. And these are the items that really make this kit valuable, or make it into the amazing thing that it actually is. First of all, if you were one of the first 20 people who've ordered, you will also get the little LED light to make the Christmas tree light up. And like I was saying earlier, I might bring this out in future as well. I'll see if I can get more of these. So if you do buy a kit and it doesn't have it in, I will bring them out in future, and then you can always just let me know and I might sell those to you separately then as well. It will include the battery that comes for this one as well. Then your wood elements, you are going to get an absolute bumper pack of wood elephants. So you're going to get the bigger pieces. So those are for the pull-up card. So you can use those ones for the pull-up card. And then these are obviously for the Christmas tree and a window card. Giving you 2 windows because you might want to put something different in your window. You might even put like the nutcracker in the window, or you want to put the gnome in the window. So you can do anything that you would like with those. And then a massive sheet of all kinds of small little designs that you can use on the cards to decorate the cards. And of course, they don't have to be just for these cards. You can do them for any other craft. If you want to make them into little lapel pins or into little magnets for gifts, or put them into crackers, you can always do that as well. So you get all of those, and then I'm also including 2 Merry Christmases for you, and then extra 2 ho-hos to complete your set of ho-ho-hos. Standard with all of my craft kits will be 6 paint dots. So you're going to get 6 of my paint dots that you can use, a paintbrush, and then my UV glaze as well to glaze your items. Now for these, I will link the videos in the description for the tips and tricks on how to use the paint and how to use the glaze. I don't have them in this video. I'm not going to show you guys how I've painted and used the glaze in this video. We're just going to construct the cards so that you've got a base to start with. So you get those ones, and then these are the ones that's going to help you to recreate the card. You're going to get a blank a template. I call them acrylic blanks, but you'll get a template for the wipey card. So that this one will be for this card. You will have a little booklet with the basic steps for this as well. So you'll have that one is to make this card, and then you will also get the pull-up card one, and that one is to make this little guy, the construction for the pull-up card. So the mechanism, I should say. So for that one, and then I've just given you a quick and easy template for the window, just so you can make the window the right size for the actual wood window piece that I give you. But you can use this in future then to cut out a window for yourself in one that you create or recreate cards. I almost forgot to show you guys the other fun part is in the box. I'm also going to give you, oh, the wind's going to blow all my stuff away, yeah. In the box, I'm also going to give you 10 designs for your 5x6s. So there's 10 different designs that you can use, and then I also am giving you 3 of the background designs for the pop-up or stand-up card that you can use. So there's different ones, the same theme of them. So you'll get all of these, all in all 13 prints in your box as well, so that you can use this and get started immediately. So with all that said, let's jump into making the first card. I'm going to start with the easiest ones first, and then we'll progress as we go into the wiper card. We'll do the wiper card last on this video. Right, so let me get all my stuff together and I'll show you guys what you need for your stand-up card. So before you actually start making your card, you want to decide what little characters you want to use on your card design and pop them out and then paint them as well. For me, I went with the little deers because I like putting them in the forest, or you can do what I did initially is I built my card and then I decided what creatures I want to put on it. So either way, but decide what you want to do with your scene. You also then need your Christmas lettering. You can again do whatever you want on the front. It doesn't have to be the Christmas, but I'm just going to recreate the one that I've done. So I'm going to pop those to the side. Then you'll need one of your background designs. You're going to need a sheet of acetate and then the 300 GSM card. For tools, I'm just going to use good old school glue. And then I do also have my wood glue, so sometimes that comes in handy, so I'll keep that at hand. You're going to need a craft knife. You'll need a ruler. I am going to use my bone folder, but you can just use the back of your pencil, some red tape, and then again, this is optional, but I am going to use some ink pads just to give some color to my front little tab and the side ones that I'm going to put in. But this is optional. It just depends on what design you want to do and how you want to construct yours. So let's dive in, and I'm going to give you guys the measurements and we're going to start making the card. Go over the measurements that we need on the card, and I hope you guys are enjoying all the ambient noise because I can hear an aeroplane, small aeroplane flying overhead at the moment. So I hope you guys enjoy that. So first thing you want to do is cut yourself the whole backing piece. So I'm going to apologize now already because I'm going to work at both imperial and in metric. Unfortunately, it is just the easiest way for me to get around this rather than to go and measure in millimeters sometimes, and it's easier to do in inches and vice versa. So for your card back, what you want to do is measure 10 inches by 10 inches. So your card is going to be flat, 10 inches long. So I'm just going to do 10 inches. And you can either use scissors, or if you've got a paper cutter, you can use a paper cutter. Well, I'm just going to use my craft knife to give this a cut. So if you wanted to use your scissors, just draw a line. If you wanted to use your paper cutter, it's the same, but I am just going to use my craft knife, and I'm just going to cut that piece off and then put that to one side. And then you want to measure it 6 inches tall. So again, I'm going to measure it this side, and I'm going to do 6 inches, and then I'm going to do 6 inches on this side, and try not to cut myself, moving the knife out of the way. 6 inches, and then again, I'm just going to use my craft knife to cut that piece off, but feel free to use whichever method comes easiest to you. Okay, so cut that one off. Make sure it's cut through. And now you're going to have your 6 by 10 that's going to become a 6 by 8. One thing that I forgot to show you guys for a tool to use, and this is probably because I'm only getting used to it now, is a scoring platform, I think it's called. I got mine just recently over the weekend, so I'm just used to using my ruler and then bending everything up and then using the bone thingy bob to fold it. So I'm going to actually use this today, which is very exciting. So what you want to do next is measure from this side. We're going to measure 1 inch and 2 inches, and then from the bottom we're going to do the same. So we're going to do 1 inch, 2 inches, and I'm not going to draw a line. If you are going to use your ruler to bend it over, you can just simply put your ruler down, and then I normally just use my craft knife to lift it up and then bend it, and then use the bone. Now I can't remember the name. Use that to then fold it nicely, and you're going to turn your card around, and you're going to do the same on the other side as well. So let's go measure the 1 inch and then 2 inch. So we're going to do 1, 2, and the same at the bottom. 1 and 2. And then I'm going to score it. Again, you don't have to use a scoring plate template thingamabob for this. You can just use your ruler to bend it up. So I'm going to go in where that line is and score it down, and then I'm going to line that one up. I'm going to score down there as well. And then one thing I've learned when I was doing this card from someone else is to also score this one from the back side as well. And that, what helps with that is for your card not to split. So handy little tip there, especially if you're like me and not a card maker by nature. It is a real handy little tip, that one. So, and then that one, score that one. I'm going to turn it around and score this one from the side as well. Okay, so now you're going to see this one is going to fold up, but before I fold it up, I want to put in the centerpiece, and I also want to do something with these strips. So what you want to do next is take your design. Now I've already cut the design for you in an 8x6, so it's already in an 8x6. You just need to trim it now to the right size. So flip your design over, and we're going to measure a 1-inch strip on either side, and then the center will leave us with a 6-inch. So one on this side, and I'm just going to do this one while I am there, and then I'm going to do the same at the bottom. So one, oh no, I didn't do that right. There's 1 inch. I need to move this one slightly. Oh, that's fine. And then again, I am just going to use my craft knife to cut this. And just cut that strip off. So your colored card or your printed card will be on a 160 GSM. And we're going to stick that down on our 300 GSM. So let me just get that straight. Oh, that one's off already. Take these two pieces and put them aside because we're going to use them a little bit later. We're not going to stick them down immediately. And then we're going to take this guy. We're going to take our card templates or our actual card. Let me just close that. And we're going to stick this one down, if I can pick it up, in this center piece here. So I'm just going to use some good old school glue, but you can use whichever glue you prefer to use. Just so I can see what I'm doing here. Make sure I get it nice on the edges. Give it a little swirl in the middle. I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to stick it in the center. Okay, so I'm going to stick that down, and I'm just going to use my bone folder. Is that what it's called? Listen, if you know what it's called, just pop it down in the comments for me. Educate me. Right. Now I want to, this side here is going to be white, and I don't want it to be white. So all I'm going to do is try and replicate that color there in the back, and all I'm going to use for that is just some ink pads. I've got a black and a green ink pad, and I'm just going to recreate, or if I can open this, recreate that color. So I'm going to use the white card, and I am going to cut off 2 strips. So that is going to be, without the scoring, it will be a full inch, but what I've learned is it's just under an inch. So just measure yours if you want to, but I'm going to mark an inch and then just cut it just shy of an inch. So I'm going to mark it 1 inch aside. I'm going to do them one at a time so that I can cut it just shy of an inch. And then I'm going to use my ruler, so that should be an inch. So basically I want to cut it just shy, so I'm going to do that. I just realized I can't see where I am without a mark. And again, I'm just going to use my knife. I get so nervous every time I take the knife out because me and sharp blades are not always friends. If you have been following me for a while, you'll know that a year or so ago I actually almost chopped off my thumb with a guillotine. And I've got a tendency to cut myself with knives in the weirdest, silliest ways, I have to say. So I am always just so scared when I need to use a knife. But it is the easiest way to do this, isn't it? Well, for me anyway. So I'm just going to, oh, I did it the wrong way. I'm going to go from this way and just make it just shy of an inch. Just so it can fit in nicely. Mark that. Probably about, I'm going to say a millimetre smaller than the inch. I'll use my knife again. And I'm going to cut that. Okay, and then I'm just going to use the ink pad to give it some colour. And there you go. So I just used some green ink pad. This is just a cheap Hobbycraft one, and I used my Memento, which is an old one, to create a color that looks very, very similar to that background. I think that's actually a really good match. Voila. Okay, so now I'm just going to measure these to be 6 inches tall and then cut them off. So I'm going to go in there, 6, and another one, 6, and this one. Oh, and there the wind takes my acetate away. Ay, ay, ay. This is the beauty about crafting outside when it's hot, but it's also pain when the wind gusts. I'll go pick that up in a second and then chop this one off. Should maybe have moved the paper out of the way, but I didn't. So we just roll with it. Let's chop this one. There we go. And then we got our 2 side pieces. So let me go save the acetate and then I'll be back in a sec. Okay, acetate. Why does it sound wrong? Saved and weighed down now. Let's carry on with this one. So now I'm going to take my card and I'm going to stick these little panels in here on the side. So again, I'm just going to use my school glue. Oi. I'm going to stick that in there. Should fit and is nicely lined up. And then we're going to do this side as well. It feels wrong doing Christmas cards in the sun, in the heat, sweating, when that's not really working on a snow scene. But hey, hey, that's what you get when you do Christmas in June. Just my bone folder to do that. And then I'm going to now bend my card. So we have, this one is going to come in. Now if you've done it right, then your little insert there should make a big difference. And then this one is going to go this way. Just fold that flat. And then we're going to go this one up and over. And then this one goes out. And flatten it. And now you see you've got your construction of your card sorted. Now at this point, if you already knew or know what design you want to put on the inside, you can go and pop it in. So I'm just going to take my little deer and I am going to pop him in. If I can find my glue dots. I'm just going to use a glue dot. And stick him in. I want him over there. And then we're going to do the side pieces. So you can do whatever design you want to do on the inside. Do that now. And then on the sides, I'm going to put some red tape. Now, there's two different thicknesses of red tape. It doesn't really matter which one you want to go for. Just put more than one line if it's a thinner one. This one now has some of the, oh no, some of the fluff from the stamping thingy on. But that's okay, because it's going to be hidden. I'm going to do 2 lines here. And you even have some doggy noises in the background. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then where's my kniffy? I'm going to lift it up if I can actually get to it. Don't actually know why I'm doing that. Don't do that yet. Don't do what I do. So we're going to go this side and do this side as well. If you don't laugh at yourself, you know. There you go. And then this one. Oh no, I missed the spot, but it's okay. Right. So we have that done. I'm going to put this to one side and we're going to do our acetate. So for the acetate, we're going to fold, when we stick it on, we're going to fold this flat and have that one flat, and then we're going to put it on this whole piece. So your card is 6 inches high, and then that should be 8 inches. So we're going to cut the acetate in 8 by 6 inches. So let's mark that one first. And really, I should have brought a Sharpie with for this, but I didn't, so I am going to wing it. So I'm going to go use a Sharpie to mark it, or actually, hang on. I'm just going to use my knife and just do like a little notch there, so I know I need to come in over there. And to the bottom. Right, and then I'm going to cut that there. It's very scientific here, guys. Okay, so we're going to do 8. that one aside because you can use that for different craft. And then we're going to do 6 high. So let's go here and then mark it at 6. And then this side has 6 as well. And then cut that piece off. Again, ideally do this with a Sharpie. Mark it with a Sharpie. Put that to one side. Let's close that up before I cut myself, and I'll glue before it dries. Right. So now you're going to take your card and we're going to remove the backing for the red tape. Go away. Right, and now we're going to line up our acetate. So here you want to be really careful and make sure that you get it straight on. Straight as you possibly can. If you're going to have a little bit of a hangover, you can just drop it off. So don't stress too much. I'm just going to use this guide just to flatten it to make sure that the glue grips it nicely. And then I'm going to now fold this over and then we're going to stick this side. So we're going to remove the backing for the red tape. I wonder if you guys can hear the birdies in the background as well. It's so lovely. Right. Fold this over. Hold your acetate up, make sure this side is nice and flat, and then kind of just walk your hand over and stick it down. And of course I got a stray fluffy hair in there. I feel like if I ever craft without any like stray hairs, it will be a miracle. And there you go. So now you've got your acetate front in place. And we're going to cover that up with our little side panels. So this one is going to go over there, and then this one is over on this side. Was it the other way around? No, it is this side. Yeah, yes. Okay, so we're going to add some red tape again. And I've got a little bit of an overhang on my acetate there, so I'll chop that off afterwards. So let's go in with some red tape again. And again, my red tape overlaps slightly, but there is no harm. Okay. Lift up backing. I mean, ideally you don't want to have the overhang on the red tape, so maybe I should have used the thin one, but I'm in it now, so I might as well. Okay, now. Okay, so this one is going to go on the side, so we on the top, bottom to the top, what I'm doing. And then again, I'm just going to use this guy just to make sure it's stuck down nicely. And then we're going to move over. In hindsight, I could have probably just used some of that and put it on the side there as well, but I didn't. I made a panel, but there you go. You can learn from my not mistakes, my thoughts. Instead of adding in the extra bits, I probably could have just colored in the sides. This one, yeah, because then I wouldn't have had that white. So hopefully you first watched the whole tutorial before you did your card, so you know to do that. If not, you do have another one to make, so you know, perfection is key. you can all practice makes perfect, so you can do another one. Wait. Okay, lift up the red. This one. The Avid card crafter probably looked at me adding those extra panels in and was actually thinking, yo Dee, you could have just colored the card in. Hey, you live and learn. And there you go. So now your card is constructed, and we're now going to do the front little bit. And if you fold it flat, it goes flat. So close. Right, so I'm going to put that to one side, and then we're going to do the front bit. So again, for the front bit, I am going to, you can do yours whichever way you want to, but I'm going to just make it that darker color there, like I've done in my previous one. So let's go and put this down again. And let me see, I might do it slightly smaller as well, but it's long enough. So I'm just going to do the whole, not the whole piece, but long enough, and then I'll cut it to size. I'm just going to go in again with this green. Right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to measure and just make sure I get it the right size from edge to edge, because I really want it to be from edge to edge. And this is where I was saying now I'll work in, oh well, that's actually 6 inches, perfect. So I'm going to cut that 6 inches. Of course it will be 6 inches. And I'm going to get it, mark it there, mark it there. And then I don't want it to be quite as high as this, so I'm going to do it as 3 centimeters high. This is where I confuse everyone. No. So while I am here, I need to cut this one. And voila, and that will give you your little strip that's going to fit in over there. Before I stick it on though, I want to stick on my little Christmas, the Christmas wording. So you see when I painted it, I've already painted it across the whole piece before I even popped it out. I just find it easier doing that than to try and hold them piece by piece. And you can also glaze this if you wanted to, or use some of that puff paint on it. You can do whatever you want to do with this. So we're going to pop them out and then line it up so that we can get it into the right position. So if you see roughly about there, so we're going to line them up and then pop them down. I am just going to pop these out. And then once they are popped out, I'm first going to line them up. Right, and then I am going to use my wood glue to stick these down one by one. Okay, so I stuck all the letters down and I just waited for about 5 minutes for that to dry. So now I'm just going to pop this around, or turn it around, pop it around, and I'm just going to add some red tape to this one as well. And then I'm just going to take my card and line that up nicely, making sure I get it on straight. There we go. And then to finish off the design for mine, I'm just going to pop this little guy on the side here. So again, I'm just going to pop him on with a glue dot. But you can just use either your red tape or your craft glue. And there you go. There's one of our little cards done. So when you fold it flat, you'll be able to send it in the post. And then when they receive it, they can pop it up and let it stand up for a display. And then of course you've got the back that you can do your little message on. So that's the one card done. And I cannot wait to see the ones that you guys are going to create. So if you do create, make sure that you pop them on social media and tag us so I can see your creations, because your creations always look so amazing. Now with that one done, let's move over to the next card. Okay, so let's jump into making the little window and Christmas tree card. I did go off screen and I quickly inside went to go glaze my tree and then did the little star. I did unfortunately get a bit of a bubble in mine, but I'm just going to leave it like that. It doesn't matter to me too much. So I'm going to link that video in. I did mix my glaze with some mica powder, but you can mix it with some glitter as well, or even some alcohol ink, whichever will work best, or whatever you have on hand, you can mix it in. So I'm going to link that video in a sec, and then you guys can see how I did that. It's not the best quality video, but it will give you guys an idea how to do the little star at the top. So for everything that you need, you're obviously going to need your tree and your little window. So I painted mine white, but you can paint yours whichever color you want to. Then you're also going to need some foam tape. So you're going to need the thinner foam tape. Let me have a look at what size this is. So this is just over 12 millimeters. I do half inch. There we go, half inch foam tape. So you want the thinner ones. Then you're also going to need some red tape. You're going to need your little template. There. If you do have the light to put in the back, we're going to use the light, and then I've included the battery for you as well. I'm going to use the little brick background for this one, and then a card blanks. So that is all the goodies you're going to need. Optional will be some distress inks. I'm going to use a little bit of a yellow distress ink and the antique one. Your ruler, of course, you'll need your knife and then a pencil. If you want to use a glue gun, you can have a glue gun ready to stick your tree in the back, but I am just going to use some foam tape for that and some red tape to put the wires away. So let's jump in and I'm going to show you guys how to start off making this one. So I moved inside quickly to show you guys how to fill that little star at the top, because I don't think I've ever actually done a video on how to fill these. So I thought I'll move inside quickly, show you guys how to do that so that you have that skill as well. And then I'm just going to add some glaze to the little baubles as well, because obviously I can't do this in the sun with my glaze being a UV glaze. So what you want to do for the little star is, if you have some masking tape at hand, can't get it into that shot because the camera is too close. So I'm just going to take just a piece of masking tape like this, just enough to cover the little star. And I'm going to first just put this on my skin. I just want to remove the excess stackiness of it, if that makes sense. Then I'm going to turn the little star upside down, and I'm going to pop this down. And just with my nail, I'm going to just make sure that there's a secure seal. Just be careful that you don't break your little star, because you will cry and I will cry with you. Right, when that is done, I'm going to turn this around. I'm just going to move the corner of the silicone mat closer so you guys can see. And then I'm going to just add a little bit of my glaze to my silicone mat. Doesn't need to be a lot. And I'm going to use the tiniest amount of mica powder. So this is just one that I got off Amazon, and I'm just going to use the tiniest amount to just mix in. Just that much. That's more than enough, because I still want the little star to be see-through, but I don't want it to be too solid so that the little light doesn't shine through. So all I'm going to do now is just pick that up, and I'm going to pop that in there. I might need to mix a little bit more, and I'm going to move it into the points of the star. And if you don't have mica powder, I've got excess of mica powder that I bought off Amazon ages ago. So if you don't have mica powder at hand and you have already ordered your kit, or if you haven't ordered your kit yet, just drop me a comment below or message me, and I can always send a little baggie with some mica powder out for you. Okay, just drop that in, and I'm just going to turn around and fill it. So it really just needs to be a super thin layer. Doesn't need to be, don't fill the star. We're going to do this in layers. Okay. Once you're happy with that and you've got it into all of the little points of the star, we're going to pop our LED light over on that. So I'm just going to put my little light on, and I'm going to leave it like that for 2 minutes. Right, and after your 2 minutes, we're going to move the LED light away, and then we're going to fill the little star. So I'm just going to move the silicone mat, and we're going to now just take our glaze straight out of the bottle, and we're going to fill the star. I mean, you could leave it like that if you wanted to, but I want to fill mine because I want to also then, after this layer, I'm going to do another one and dome it. Okay, and then I'm going to cure that again for 2 minutes. Okay, and then I am going to do one more layer to dome this one. Oh, I got a massive bubble in mine now. I missed that bubble, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. So I'm just going to do a top layer just to finish this one off. And there you have it. It is a pity that I have that bubble now, but I'm not going to feel too bad about it. I might see if I can fill it in from the back. But all you need to do now is just very, very gently pull back the masking tape, and now it will leave that fold little star. So I can see also I didn't fill it in properly there, but it doesn't matter because it is still going to look really cool on the tree. So all I'm going to do now, or on the card, what I'm going to do now is just fill in those little baubles, cure them, and then it's back to the assembly video. The first thing that I'm going to work on is the background. So we're going to do the window cutout, and then I just want to size this one slightly smaller. The card itself, or the design, is actually a 5x7, but I want to have it just the tiniest bit smaller. So you've got two ways that you can do that. You can either go and just do a little bit of a cutoff, or if you do have the template for the wiper card, you can actually use that template to just size it up. So I'm just going to turn it around and I'm going to center this one. I don't know why I'm centering it. I can just as well bring it to the corner at the bottom and on the side. I'm just going to draw a pencil line, and then I'm going to cut that one to size. So if you do have that template at hand, it does help. Otherwise, just go in. I think I've done about 7 millimeters from the side. So just do that, and then I am just going to cut this with my craft knife, and you can again use a pair of scissors if you've got one at hand, or a paper cutter, whichever works best for you, or whichever you have at hand. That side off, and then let's chop this one. And then I'm going to use the white card blank for this one, and I'm just going to first of all give it a little bit of this distress effect on the edges, because I kind of like that, and I've been having so much fun with distressing. So I'm going to pop this down on a sheet of paper again. And there we go. So card blank is done, and then this one is done, and we'll give a nice little shadow effect when we pop that on. Right, so let's go ahead and start planning our window. So we want to have our window in the center, slightly down. I mean, you can eyeball it any which way you want to do it, but I'm going to just have it a little bit down because I want to have space to put something at the top if I want to. And then two ways of doing this. You can either go with a pencil and draw around and then cut it out, but I am not that savvy around an edge, so all I'm going to do is just follow my template and go around, being careful that I don't actually cut my template itself. Let's go to the bottom piece and to see if it's cut through. So I'm going to go around one more time. I probably should have removed the paper again. Can't seem to remember to remove it before I cut, but it's okay. It's a scrap piece of paper anyway. So now a little bit around this edge here. There we go. And then it looks like it's just the corners at the bottom. And there we go. And there you have your window piece cut out. So as easy as that. Then we're going to plan where our tree is going to go on the actual card blank. So if we take this and we just line this up. And the reason why I want to check where it's going to go is, I don't know if you guys can see, but in the back there I put a little bit of yellow distress ink. It just helps, especially in the daytime when you switch the light on. Can't see it, it's too bright outside at the minute, but it just like gives it that extra bit of glow. So I'm going to pop my tree in underneath, and then I'm going to just, I want it a little bit lower. Okay, so roughly around there, and I am just going to make the tiniest little mark so I know where I want to add some distress ink. Now I don't have all the brushes for distress ink, but I thought I'll show you guys another way that I've tested to do this. If you've got some yellow ink lying around, I've just got some tissue paper. I'm just going to grab a little bit of ink on there, and then I'm just going to do it like so. There we go. Right. So that's basically where I'm going to have my tree. So if we have a look at that, you can do other colors in the background, or you can even put some pattern paper in the back if you wanted to give it like a wallpaper effect, but I think this is more than enough. And then what we're going to do next is get the light mechanism put in the back. So if you do have that, you can follow along with these steps. If you don't have it, you can skip these steps and just attach it to the card. So we're going to flip this guy around, and we're going to grab our little light switch thingamabob, and we're going to stick it on at the bottom of the tree, and we want the lights to be over or behind the little star. But you can see you've got a lot of excess wiring at the back. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I want to put in my battery and make sure that it works. I'm just going to take that out and pop in my battery. And if you don't have a battery and you're wondering which one it uses, it's these, I think it's a CR2016 battery. Okay, make sure they work. Then first thing I'm going to do is try and line them up to be all together, and then I'm going to take them and just twist them, because I want them to stay together so that they are nice and flat behind the little star. Now, because we've got all of that excess wire, I want to curl it around so that we have it hidden behind the tree. So all I'm going to do is just take the wire and just wrap it around my fingers and create like a coil, and then we can position that there, and we're going to stick that down over there. So here you can use either a hot glue gun to stick it down, or I'm just going to use a piece of red tape, is what I did with my previous one, and it worked really well. So remove the backing piece of the little light mechanism, and then stick that on the bottom over here. You can move it if you wanted to use that as the button, kind of move it there, and then that red bauble becomes the button. So any which way, whichever works for you. And then I'm going to take these ones, I'm going to line the three lights up behind the star, and I'm just going to use a piece of my red tape. I found works really well because it's so sticky. And line that up, and then just stick that down. I'm not going to remove the backing of the red tape, I'm just going to leave it just like that. And now you can see it lights up nicely. I want it to be a little bit higher, so what I'm going to do is just pull this through a little bit more so it sits right behind there, and now you can see it lights up behind. And if you put it over there, you can see it lights up nicely against that yellow. Okay, so you don't really need to tape these down unless you want to, but I just bent them out of the way and then we're good to go. So all I'm going to do now is just use a little bit of foam tape. You're going to need to put two pieces on top of each other. I'm going to eyeball measure it. Just cut a little piece off, and then I'm going to stick it onto another one, and then cut it off again. And then I'm going to stick that there. And because I've moved it over to the edge, I can only do like a tiny little square on this side, which is fine. I'm just going to cut off a little square, flip that over. Oh, heavy gust wind coming in now. Cut that off again. If you want to, we can put a little square over there. Pull that off. Put a little square there, and then we're ready to stick it on. So move the backing. And then we're going to turn around and stick that down. And there you go. Okay, so that is done. And then now we're going to do the window. So because we've put two pieces of tape underneath this one, we're going to have to do 3 layers under this one. If you wanted to make this one stronger, you can cut the template out again on 300 GSM and then stick the two together to make it a little bit more sturdy. But to put the window on, what I'm going to do is use I'm using wood glue, but you can just use craft glue. It doesn't have to be wood glue. It's just the only glue that I have because I predominantly work with wood designs. And you don't want to put too much wood, so too much glue down so that it squeezes out. So just put that down, and then what you want to do is pop that one over and then stick that one down in place. I don't know why I put glue everywhere. It should have just been around the frame. So again, don't do as I do. Pop this way around. And there we go. That's better. All this glue was too much. Didn't need to put the glue on this section. It was a bit silly. Just going to wipe it away. And now we're just going to leave that a couple of minutes to dry before we actually stick that. Put the foam tape on and then stick it onto our card. So while I leave that to dry, I'm going to get my foam tape ready. So I want to measure those off, and I'm going to do 2 of them and 3 layers on each. And now I desperately hope that I've got enough foam tape on this roll to actually do that. Right, once you mastered the art of sticking 3 of them together, unlike me, because I went very skew, but it's okay. Stick them on, and then we're going to grab our card and we're going to stick our window on. Again, just remove the backing for the foam tape. And then eyeball it to get it nice and center, which has not been one of my strong suits for this video. And there you go. It's definitely not straight. Please make yours straight. And there you go. So that is card number 2 done. So that's your little window one. And like I said, you can do anything else in the background. It doesn't have to be the Christmas tree. but I think that looks cute, and you will be amazed at how bright that little light is at nighttime. So that's 2 of the cards done, so let's move on to the third one. And now we're going to get what looks like more complicated card, but actually if you use the template it is going to be ridiculously easy. So let me get everything ready for that one, and then I'll come show you guys how to do that one. So the next one we're going to do is our pull-up card. So that is this little guy, and I'm going to go through step by step how we recreate this one. We're going to do a slightly different design for this one with some other elements that comes in your kit. So let me show you guys everything that you'll need to create one of these cards. So as far as materials are concerned, what you'll need is some ribbon or some string. That's just for pulling out the card to grab it and pull it out. So whatever you want to use at the top, I'm just using some red organza ribbon. Then you're going to need some 300 GSM cards. You're going to need one of your card blanks. I'm going to use the craft card one for this one. You're going to need your design painted and ready to go. I'm going to use this design for my pull-up card to go with my little teddy and his post box. I think it's quite a cute one. And then I've just stamped on a little piece of card that's going to go on the inside. So that is for, I don't know why I'm pulling at his hand. That's for this piece over here. So this piece over here's measurement, if you want to create one, is 6.5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. Or if you have my templates, you can use your wiper card template, the bigger rectangle on this one. You can use that one. That's the same size that I've used for that one, and they've just stamped it and embossed it. And then if you want to use another stamp for this top message here, for this here, you need that stamp, and then whatever you want to do at the top. So that is as far as materials are concerned. For your tools for this one, you're going to need a scoring platform, or again, if you don't have one, don't stress too much. You can just fold the pieces over. Some red tape. You're going to need your craft knife, some glue. I'm again just going to use good old school glue, pencil, ruler, and then your template. So when you receive your templates, they will be in a packet like this, and then they will have a protective layer on. Remove that protective layer. Just be very careful that you don't snap the pieces, but remove the protective layer. And the reason why I love it removed is because then your template is clear. So when you want to line it up to a design to see where you want to actually cut the design, you can see right through it to be able to make that decision. So pull those off. Just be very careful that you don't snap, especially this little guy because he's loose. Don't snap that piece off, and then you'll be able to use that. So let's get started with the assembly or the building the mechanism for this one. So first I'm going to do the pull-up piece. So this is just a scrap piece of 300 GSM from a previous project that I'm going to use. And all you need to do, I've made it so simple and so easy for you, is just to draw lines around the template and then cut it out. Now you can make a decision. If you've got a sturdy hand, you can actually do the corners rounded, or if you don't have a sturdy hand, then just draw this across, draw across there, and then you can just cut it straight. Also make sure that you do that little tab in there. And this is just a guideline, just a light pencil mark, and this one is basically so that you know how. If you can see, I left my pencil mark there. You should really just erase it, but just so that you know the space that you have to do your stamping for this one to be in the right position. That's all that line is for. Then once I've drawn my lines, I am now going to just cut this off. So again, you can use scissors or a paper cutter if you have one. I'm going to go this way first, just line my ruler up, and then I'm just going to cut that. Just a second time for good measure. And then I'm also going to cut this side. There we go. So I've made mine straight, and if you have a corner cutter, you can just go with a corner cutter and do the corners if you want to. Then I just want to cut that little tab out. I find it easier to just use my knife and just do the short edge. And then I'll use the ruler to guide me for the longer edge. Cut that out. I'm actually going to wing it. Yay, I did it. Well, kind of. Just grab, get it right into the corner. There we go. Okay, so that's the little tab. Or if you have like a single hole punch, instead of doing the square there, you can just punch that through as well. It's really up to you what design you want to go for. So that is our pull-up piece. So now you can go ahead and stamp this and decorate this or do whatever you feel like doing with this one. Just remember, lovely crow coming to visit us, probably because there's so many sparkling bits here by me. He's so noisy. Just remember, you're not going to see any of this, but you can do something in this. So if you wanted to decorate this any which way you want to, you can go ahead and do that now. I'm not going to stamp mine for the moment. I'm just going to put that to one side. And then we're going to do the colored frame piece. So for that one, I'm going to use this design over here. And then for your template, you're going to use this one with a flap part. So you can, if you know where you want to put it, turn your paper upside down and then put your design on the other side. So I'm just going to quickly just scope where I want it. So I think what I'm going to do is put it in the top corner, because then I've got that lovely tree and I've got the snow at the bottom and I've got the birds and some of these trees as well. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm just going to line it up again. Okay. And then you want to draw the outside. I just moved mine. Try not to move it. I'll do that again. And then bottom. And then down this one. Down this one. Down this one. And the little tab. So you will see on your, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this on here. I'm going to try and, let me use the craft card. I've put there, so that is a score line, that is a score line, and then this and these are cut lines on this one. So if you just follow that, and I couldn't do a line there for you to draw, but once we finish, I'll show you in a sec. Just draw a line straight across so you know where to score for that one as well. Now that you have that, you can just go ahead and cut that out. I'm just going to use my ruler. Can you guys hear how crazy the wind is? It just gusts every now and again, which is really annoying because then all my stuff on the table goes flying. Okay, so that's the bottom part off. And this one here, remembering that it moved, getting it in the right place. And then you also want to go and cut the tab so it can flip up. See, up to way up to there. Just turn that one. And last one. Okay. Oh, and I always seem to forget the top one. So again, I just find it easy to do that side one straight up, and then this one's a bit longer, so I'm not going to attempt even to do this one without a ruler. Okay. Right, so now we want to score those pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line right across. So this is on the back, so it doesn't matter that there are pencil lines. Nobody's going to see them. And then you can, if you don't have a scoring platform, you can literally just put your ruler down and then just lift it up with the sharp tool and then fold it up. But because I thought I'm being cute, got myself a scoring platform. If I can just pick this one up, I'm just going to use this little guy. It would help if I do it the right way around, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to line it up with the third one. There we go, and then I'm going to score that. And then what I do is I just lift this up. I'm just going to third line it up. Score that one. And then the last one. I just find it easier if I count it, because I did some scoring the other day and then I realized only halfway through pulling the line down, that it went skew and it went across too. So now I just count them. Right, so what you want to do is the bottom one. Let me get this guy out of the way. Let's lock that one in. So for the bottom one, you want to go ahead and fold that one up. Here's my phone folder. Don't know, so I'm just going to use my pencil. This one you want to fold this way, and then the last one you want to fold up. Oops, you want to fold that up. Now, a couple of tips here. I should have maybe said that beforehand. I tried to do this in a stronger card and it just made the mechanism harder to work. So 160 GSM for this piece is the best that you can do. I have even tried sticking this onto 300 GSM because I thought, well, if I make it stronger, it will last longer. But it actually made it more difficult to use. So in all honesty, you don't need to make it any stronger than what it is. 160 GSM is perfect for this mechanism. Right, so now I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to use my red tape. And I'm going to put my tape around the edges. And with this as well, if I can find the end, with this as well, don't put the broader tape on. I mean, your mechanism is going to work, but I've found that it works a lot easier if I use the thinner red tape on the edges. I mean, you can obviously go and try, but after making 6 cards, I've decided not to go with a thicker tape again. So just going to put tape across the bottom, just like so. Tape all the way up on the other side. Okay. Like that. And we're not going to put tape across the top for obvious reasons. Before I make a mistake, let me turn this on. Okay, because your pulley card needs to come up the side. For this bottom piece, because this is going to be the one that needs to be stronger for the mechanism, you can either use your broad red tape, or in this case I'm just going to put 2 lines of my red tape on this bottom tabby. There we go. And then I'm going to put a second one there, just to make sure that it is as strong as it can be. Now I've put the tape over the edge there slightly, so I'm going to need to trim that off. There we go. While I'm at it, let's tidy that side. Right, so now we're ready to attach your pulley. Now what I find works the best to put this one down is you need to obviously center it. So make sure that your overhang on both sides is the same and that it comes down straight. And then what I do is I pull it right down to the bottom. So you want it to the bottom of this piece here. So right down to the bottom, because you want it to move straight up and down. And then what I do is I moved it. Let's try that again. I then pull this up slightly, and not the best angle for you guys, sorry. Remove that backing for the red tape, making sure I keep the pulley in the right place, and then just bring it back down and stick it down. Okay, and with that done, that then creates your pull up mechanism there. Okay, then we can go ahead and stick that onto card. Now for this one I wanted to use a craft card blank, I should say. So I'm going to take this, and you want to kind of eyeball it before you even pull your red tape off, so you can kind of eyeball where you need it to be. And then I'm going to just quickly put my ribbon in there as well. I can never remember, is it back to front or front to back for this one? I think it's back to front. I mean, you can go real fancy with your pull up here, but I am just going to put straight up ribbon in. If I can actually even feed it through there. There we go. So that's there. Right, so now that I know where my eyeballing is, I'm going to remove the red tape backing. It just doesn't want to come off for me today. Yep. And this one. And the last one. This one. Fold it over, so let me. I'll get that one off with a pair of scissors now, because that's going to cause a problem. Okay. Now keep your pulley straight and in place, because the last thing you want is for that one to fall to the side, and that it's straight. And then I come down and stick the rest of it down, and then you have your little pull up. Okay, so now I can go ahead and let's stick the let's stick the center. Where's my little message that I stamped? Has the wind taken it? Right, so the wind did pick that up and moved it away. Now in hindsight, this probably would have been nicer with the green if I did the green around there, but I wanted it to fit the post box. But that is how we live and learn, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to use school glue again, and I'm just going to stick that in the bottom. I wanted to go up to there, right, and then I just need to lift that slightly to close it flat. Okay, and then now I can stick these on. So what you want to do is you don't want to stick everything flat, because then obviously it's not going to be able to stand up. So you just want to stick the bottom half of your design. So I think I want my post box there and teddy around there, making sure that your design is also above that line, because that piece is going to flip up this one. Okay, so I'm going to stick my post box down. Now you can even go further over the side if you wanted to, because it makes no difference if it stands up like over the edge. So you can be so creative with this. Right, so I'm just going to use red tape for this. Stick the post box down, and I'm just going to stick down just the bottom bit. And the side. I'll just get a good grip, then lift this up, and then I'm going to stick my post box down there. So now my post box stands up, and then for Teddy I want to lift him up slightly so he's above the post box, a little bit more of a 3D effect. So for him I'm just going to use a piece of foam tape, maybe even two. Let me first see if I want 1 or 2 pieces. So no, so I'm going to do 2. That one off. And yes, that's far better because now it's above the, do I do 3? No, 2. 2 is fine. So I'm just going to pull that off. And then I'm going to stick him down. And there you go. So there is your little pull-up card, and look how cute that is. And again, you are not limited to just for Christmas for these cards. You can do little birthday cards in the box set. The majority of the, no, not the majority, all the designs are geared for Christmas, but nothing stops you from grabbing some of my other pieces or doing some of my other pieces, or if you've got a die cutter, do some die cut pieces. The whole point of these templates is to give you endless amount of cards that you can make, and make it so easy to make the card from scratch. And can you imagine if you are not a card maker and you give someone a card like this for Christmas? They are absolutely going to love it. Now I can tell you now, they're not going to believe that you made it. So that is our little pull-up card done. So one more to go is our little wiper card. So let me get everything ready for that one, and then we'll get started on that one. Yesterday just got way too windy out here, and today is another lovely hot day, so I thought I will just remove and rejig things around and film this card today. So what we're going to do today is recreate this cute little, I don't know what to call it, a wiper card, a flippy uppy card, I don't know, but we're going to recreate this cute little card today, and I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is. So let me show you everything that you need to have ready. I will suggest watch first, because I tend to forget about something and then you need to stop or you made a mistake. So watch first and then do. All right, so let me show you what you guys will need to do this one. For your basics that you'll need is your 7x5 card. So I'm going to use the craft card one for this one. I've also chosen my colored or design papers that I want to use for this card. You want to get your wood elements painted and glazed and ready. So I'm going to do the ho 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 again. And again, I'm going to use the 2 robins because I just like them so much. And now the doggies are running around playing zoomies and chasing each other outside. Right, now that they stopped running around, we can carry on. So you're also going to need your 300 GSM card as well. So that is all the materials. There's nothing is to say that I won't remember in a second that there was something else that I needed. So I'm just going to take this quickly and put it to one side so I can show you guys all the tools that I'm planning on using. Most importantly that you're going to need is your template. So that will be this one with the cut out rectangles. So make sure that you have this one at hand. Remove the protective film of yours. So you'll see mine, I've already removed the protective film of mine so that I can use them perfectly and see where my lines are when I'm drawing. So do that first. And then you're also going to need a scoring board, I think they're called. I know I keep on saying I think they're called, I don't know, this little guy. If you don't have one of these, don't fret. You can just use your ruler and just bend your card over. I'm sure I've said that in the tutorials for the other ones yesterday. So you're going to need those. You're also going to need some foam tape. I've got the wide one for this one, and I'm going to do 3 layers of them. So make sure you have quite a substantial amount of that. I'm going to have some glue dots at hand, red tape at hand. Also going to have at hand some school glue, some of my wood glue. You can use any card crafting glue or paper glues. I just don't have any, and I found that my wood glue works really well. I'm going to use a bit of distress ink and that little dude, a ruler, my knife or scissors or paper cutter, whichever one you prefer to cut with, and of course a pencil. And nothing is to say that I'm not going to remember something else as I start. So let's start with the first step. First, I'm going to start and cut out all my structural pieces first before I actually start assembling. So what you want to do is grab your template, and then I'm first just going to draw all the different shapes that I need. So when you look at your template, you've got a bigger rectangle and a smaller one. The smaller one is for your decorative card and the big one is for the actual panel. So again, watch first and then you can re-watch and come back to craft along, just in case I make any mistakes. So for this one, it actually does say there, I know you can't see it on here, maybe if I hold it like so, you can see it says, hopefully you can, it says cut 6 and cut 6. So you need 6 pieces. So I'm just going to go and draw these out. Right, now that I have the rectangles, I also want to cut out or outline 3 of these guys. So that's the small rectangle. So the rectangle, square even. So for the square, we're going to cut the square, and this one is just so that you can measure the line that you want to do your scoring on. So this is going to be the little mechanism that makes the card actually flip up. So we want 3 of those. And then I'm going to go back, and this is why I love that I've done this on clear acrylic, because now I want to go back, line my rectangle. I keep on wanting to call it a rectangle now. Line my square up nicely with the tiny little rectangle, and then I've now marked where I'm actually going to score the little mechanism. Okay, so now that we've marked all of those, we can put them aside before I start cutting everything else out, and then put this one aside as well. And we're going to do the, so this is going to be the pulley, so the piece that you actually pull to lift the card up. And for this one, we want 2 of these ones, because we're going to stick them together to make sure that it is nice and strong. Okay, now I have 2 of those ready. So those are all the construction parts. Now let's do some of the pretty parts. So for this one, I think I'm going to do, which way do I want to go? Where's my little robins? I haven't quite decided if I want my robins to be on this. Okay, I'm going to do this, the flippy up, and then this, the background of the card. Again, I'm going to take my template. If you want your design to be in a specific position, then I would say try and do it on the front. But as this is a print that is the same everywhere, I'm just going to do it on the back. And I might even cut my cutting time down and put it right to the bottom. And again, this is what makes it so lovely, being transparent. Now, while I have it there, I'm also going to draw down these lines as well. Now, you can make your card either with the flippy ups at the bottom and your sentiment at the top, or if you wanted to, you could do it the other way around, so that you have your flip ups at the top and your sentiment at the bottom. So it just depends on which way you want to do it. So just take that into account. So for this one now, because the first line is on this side, for this one, my flippy ups are going to be at the bottom. If you wanted your flippy ups to be at the top, then just take your, oops, oh, the wind is starting again today. This is what you get when you want to work outside. So instead of having it like this, just flip your template the other way around and do it like this. And then if I had to cut the lines on this side now, if you just imagine that the slots are there, then the flippy ups are going to be at the top and you can put the sentiment at the bottom. So it just depends on which way you want to go. Okay, so that's that one. And then I need for my decorative pieces that I've now put, where did the wind go with it? So for my robins, I want my robins to sit on top of the wood. So I've got 3 flip ups. So I'm going to do 2 of them with the wood, because the ones in the back actually I'm going to do on white card, and I'm going to distress it with some like Christmassy red distress ink. So I'm going to do 2 of those. Then I'm also going to do, this is now where I change my mind, you see. Then I'm also going to do, for the back, I'm going to do 3 of these. Okay, and then I don't quite know what I want to do on that middle one. Let me have a look. And that, beauties, is exactly why I said watch first. So I've literally taken maybe like 15 minutes now to decide what I was going to do, and ran around to go and grab some stuff to do it with. I don't know what I've done with my pencil. Oh, there it is. Never mind. So I have decided I'm actually going to do another one of these small rectangles on white, and I'm going to try something that I haven't done before. I'm going to use some washi tape on it, and I'm also going to add a little holly stamp on it to put in the middle of the 2 robins, because I think robins and holly go well together. So there we go. So I think now we've got everything, I think, yeah, we've got everything done. So let me go ahead and cut all of the pieces out. Okay, now if you've done everything right, you should have 6 of the smaller little rectangles. I've already gone ahead and stamped this one, and I used the washi tape around the edge to give it that metallic line. And then my 2 colored ones, or design patterned ones, so I'm holding it down for the wind, and then 3 white ones, but I've just gone and I just used some distress ink on mine and just made it this nice little ruby red. So you should have 6 of those shapes, 6 of the plain white larger rectangles, 3 of the tiny squares with your score mark, which we're going to score in a sec. And I've just again distressed mine with a little bit of brown, and that is just so that it matches with the brown of the front. It doesn't really match, but it's not white. So that's the reason why I've done that. You should have 2 of the strips for the pulley, and then I'm going to show you guys how to cut these slots in. So for the slots, it's really important that you don't make them too wide. The first few cards that I did, I made them too wide, and I couldn't understand why my card wasn't flipping over. It just got stuck. So the first one will flip and then they won't move. And then I realized it's because of these slots, which is why on the template I've only said that you need to just draw a line in. So for this one, what I will say is go for your first cut, go on the line, and then to create that slot, literally just a millimeter away. You just want enough space for the card mechanism to fit through. See, I don't know if you guys will be able to see. I'm going to try and lift it up. Maybe you can. So there's literally just a millimeter difference. So again, I'm going to cut on this line, and then the next one literally just a millimeter away. another one, and then I'm going to do it for the third time on the line and 1 millimeter away. And now to grate that into a slot, all I'm going to do is just take my knife and I'm just going to just cut off the little ends to pop that out. Now you should be left with a 1 millimeter wide little slot. And we're going to flip through the, or push through the little mechanism in a second. And if we need to widen it a little bit, you can. I will say rather do it too thin on your first round, and then you can make it thicker, but you obviously can't make it thinner. So I'm hoping that you can see on the dark background, there's just 1 millimeter line through all those. Okay, so we're going to just pop that to one side for a second, and we're going to come to these guys and we're just quickly going to give them a little score. So I'm just going to take them and on that line, just give them a score and then a fold over, and go ahead and do that for all 3 of them. Fold over. And then for the last one, we do the same score and fold over. Okay, so you want to be left with 3 of these little mechanisms. Okay, so let me put this away. Right, so now we can start our assembly. First, I want to just make sure that my slots are big enough. That one just fell straight through, so that's fine, because we want some wiggle space, but not too much. Okay, so those are fine, so I'll just pop that away. First thing that I want to do is just glue this one together. Again, you can use your craft glue. I'm just using some school glue again. I needed 1 tube of these some time ago, and I couldn't just buy on Amazon just one. I had to buy a whole box of them. So yeah, I've got enough stock of school glue to keep me going for a while. Okay, if you did glue it down slightly askew, just use the nicest part for the front is all I can say. Or you can just, like in this case, I'm just going to trim off that edge just slightly. Okay, so that's the pulley is done, and now we can start assembling. Right, the first thing that you want to do is take these little guys and pop them through. So you want to have the larger piece must be on the front. No, I'm lying. Yes, it is. Larger piece must be on the front. So I normally put the first, let me just fold this one a little bit more. I normally put the first 2 through and flip the card over. And then I'm just going to hold it down. And where did that one go? Hold the rest of it down, lift just this one side up, and then pop this one in. Okay. Right. Now what we want to do is we're going to attach this guy, my pulley. Make sure that ugly side is going to be on the inside. So for this one, what you want to do is we're going to add glue to all of these tabs in a second. And then you want to take this one and you want to stick it on to this one first, hold it down, and then kind of slightly follow those two, making sure that it is straight. I normally use the distance between this to gauge that it is nice and straight, and then I will hold it there for a few seconds. So I'm going to take my glue, and the wind is coming up again. I thought I'll get away with it today without it being too windy, but there you go. Alas, it was not meant to be. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And also don't put too much glue on, because if you put too much glue on, what will happen is the glue will just spill in or spill over, and then your whole mechanism will get stuck. So whatever you do, don't put too much glue, just the tiniest little bit will suffice. And then I'm going to put that first one on, hold it for a second, and then I'm just going to follow the line, making sure that it looks straight, as straight as what the eye can make it. Okay, just holding that for a second, just so it dries. And then if I pull it up, now you can see there's the flippies on the front. So first thing I'm going to do is just take it out so I can show you guys. So that's basically the mechanism that will pull backwards and forwards. Okay, so let's pop that back in. In, and in. Right. Okay, and then we can go and start to put the fronts on. So you can do with these whatever you want to do. Like I could really have done a little bit of, maybe I will do, I think I'm going to distress these so that they basically look like this. And then on top of that, I think I'm going to put the little wood panel design. So let me first quickly distress these. And again, this is why you watch the whole video before you start your construction. So let me quickly distress 3 of those, and then I'll come back. I'm going to distress 2 of them, maybe all 3. I'll have a look now. Let me do those 3, and then I'll come back and we can finish the assembly. Right, I decided to go for brown with these. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to finish off the front panel before I actually stick them down. So I'm just going to add again, and you can see I distressed this one by accident when I wanted to do those. I've got a kind of obsession with distressing at the minute. I don't know why, what and why it is. So I am just again using some school glue, and I'm just going to pop that little wood panel on. And I think I'm going to do this one a wood panel. And then for the last one, I'm going to put my holly on. And this is going to be my centerpiece. And the possibilities are literally endless of the designs that you want to do. You've got essentially 3 flip-ups that you can do whatever you want to do on them. And look how nicely that washi tape now stands out. My fingers are dirty and I'm touching this. It's not a good idea. Okay, so now I'm going to assemble the front. I'm just thinking I'm going to do 3 of these, distress them as well. I suppose this is the beauty of crafting, is I can swap and change my mind anytime as to what I want to do. So these are the back panels. Now I know I did mine with white card and distressed it, but as I was distressing it, I was thinking I should probably mention you could have done this in a patterned design as well. So you could have, for example, done the background in that and then pop that one on the front. It's really up to you which way you want to go. Like I said, I just got an obsession with distressing at the minute. No idea why. I think it's because I've had this distressing ink, I'm not even going to lie to you guys, for maybe more than 5 years now. And I just have never actually used them to their full potential. Right, so let me get these guys on for the back panels. Make sure I get a nice and center. Right, now we can go in. I have to laugh at myself, I think it's funny. Anyway, so now I've got my 6 panels, and let's do the final assembly. Right, so what you want to do is, if you just stick these down, I'm going to show you what not to do so that you can realize, unlike I did, what you're doing wrong. So if you leave it like this and you then put the cards on, there's no way to pull this. It's not going to pull. So what we need to do is we need to take this, flip those up so they stand up, and then we're going to move, if my fingers just want to touch it properly, we're going to fold this one and we're going to move it right to the edge there. Let's pop these back in again. Okay, so we want to move it so that the pulley aligns with the edge of the card there. And with that, it now has some movement forward to, if I'm going to pull, now it will pull the card up, if that makes sense. So you have to do that. If you don't do that and you add them on this, there's nothing to pull. Okay, so make sure that you first move it there before you put the front on. I did 3 cards the wrong way. I was so frustrated with myself because, as you will see, it is a lot of effort cutting all the pieces out. I think the card looks really complex, but what takes the most time is cutting all the different elements, and as you've just seen with me, deciding on what designs to do. Okay, so holding the pulley in place, I'm now going to add some glue to the piece of the little tab that I can see. Do not put too much glue on. You do not want it to squeeze out. If it does squeeze out, it's going to stick to the back and it's also not going to move. So with the glue there, eyeball it so you can make sure that it's in the center and put it straight up to that edge. Okay, in the center, straight up to the edge. Hold it for a second, lift it up to make sure nothing is stuck, and then push that pulley back again. And then we're going to do the next one and the next one. So do all 3 of those. When you stick them on like this, just try and make sure that you align the little tabs so that they lie evenly. I've just noticed that I cut this one a bit skew, so I might try and fix it with a pair of scissors. And knowing my luck, I probably will make it even worse. I'll do that when it's proper dry. Okay, so now you have, probably won't work properly now because it's got nothing to pull against, but now you've got your tabs that should flip open. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to open them, and now we're going to stick the other side on. You can see. Okay, and now we have the front and the back of our cards done. Okay. Right, now that that is done, I would like to first construct this onto the card so that we can then stick the wood elements and the rest of the design pieces on. Flip your card upside down, and I want it to be, you need enough space for when this thing flips up, it needs to have that space to move underneath the card. So we're going to put foam layers. I did my first one with 2 foam layers and didn't quite work that well, so now I do 3 foam layers. Might be excessive. If you're going to do a test card first, then do a test card to see how well that works for you. So I'm going to do, I know that I need 3. This is now where I'm going to botch again, trying to layer these up. I'm going to go ahead and put a strip on this side and this side, and then stack 3 of the strips together. Okay, so I'm meant to put another 2 layers on here, but I made a mistake. So learn from my mistake and don't do this as well. When I put the tape on, I pulled the card too tight, and now you can see my card is buckled. There's literally no way for me to fix it, and now I'm going to have a crease in the middle here. So this card is going to be a reject card. So I'm not going to waste my tape and put another layer. I'm going to finish the assembly, but I want you to kind of imagine that there's a third layer there. So if it doesn't pull properly, that will be the reason for it. But for me to redo everything now just because of this panel for the video is crazy. So it's going to have that fold and the buckle in the middle there, but it is what it is for the moment. Right, so once you've done that, we're going to stick it onto a card, which I will go ahead and do for completion. So I'm going to grab my card, pull back the backy parts of the foam tape. It's also worthwhile mentioning you don't have to use this width of foam tape. You can use the skinnier ones. The white ones are just the only ones that I have at hand at the moment. You can see now the mistake I've made. I've completely botched that by buckling it, so I'm going to have to straighten it to stick it down. And then I'm going to have that fold. And I didn't even get it in the center. Okay, so stick that down. I'm going to fold my card, and oh, mine actually works. And to be honest, that fold is not that bad. Okay, well, happy little mistakes. But there you go. So that's your mechanism. So when you do send this in the post, just move the cards to the so that the pulley is right to the edge again, and then pop it in the post. And then when the recipient receives it, they can pull it and oh, I'm not holding it, and then it will flip over. So I'm just going to finish this off, and I'm going to use my glue dots, and I'm going to put my little ribbons on. If I can find the other one, hiding underneath there. There we go. Cute they are. And on this side, I'm going to stick on the ho ho ho. So let me just grab all my letters. The wind has really moved everything around. There they are. Best laid plans, guys. Best laid plans. And then I'm just going to, and you can do whatever design you want to do on the inside. I think I did say in one of the first clips I did when I showed you guys the card, you can even put little photos on here. You can do other elements and put them here. I was thinking for like a birthday one, you can go hip hip hooray, or you can even put the hip hip hooray on this, and you don't have to put it on this. You can have so much fun. Oh, that's upside down. You can have so much fun with this card construction. And while those dry, I'm just going to turn my card, and I'm just going to write here pull. So there you have it, guys. There is your little card, and like I was saying, you can now just put another sentiment at the top there. When you send it in the post, remember to move the pulley right to the back, so the card, the little flip-ups can be flat, and then when the recipient receives it, voila! How cute is that? And then they can play over and over with it. I think it's the most gorgeous and easiest card. It looks so complicated, but super easy to make, and I think it will make the person receiving it smile. And then of course you can still do your message on the inside. Oh, I had some foam tape on the inside. You can do your message in the inside, and I think that's gorgeous. And there you have it, guys. 4 amazing cards that you can make with the templates included, with the exception of this one. You've got the measurements to do this one. So you've got your little Christmas tree and window card. You have your little stand-up card with the acetate, which is quite gorgeous. Your little teddy card, or whichever design you want to put on this one, and then of course your pulley card as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more of the card making style videos, please let me know. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know which one is your favorite, and if you do put any of these of your makes on social media, don't forget to tag me, because I would love to see what you do. But I think I'm going to create a whole range of cards using just these templates, and I can guarantee you whoever's going to receive the cards that you've made, they're just not going to believe that you made it. And there the wind comes again. That is my cue to go. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a lovely time making some handmade Christmas cards this year. See you in the next one. Bye.